Hi, this is Simon Young back with Groove at any time, where we can literally be on any time, on any day, and talk about anything just about with anyone. Now, for those of you who are joining us and you are here right now, you should know that today is a very special one. Why? Because usually we're on at any time. I just get up, or maybe I come back from dinner or whatever, and I just turn it on, and here we are. And I said, okay, I'm going to go on in the next 5 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever. But today we actually scheduled a full day in advance, not for me, not for our guest, but for you, because I want to make sure that you are aware who is coming up, and I want you to know and plan your schedule around being here for this particular session, because it's going to be the first of many that we're going to have with our very special guest here today that I'm sure you're going to want to learn more from time and time again. Now, this gentleman, he is a fellow groovester. He is also a groove star. And by the way, he is also one of the top groove affiliates right now in existence. So there's definitely a lot more that we're going to be able to learn from him as time goes on. But as a professional, this guy is also a leadership branding coach. He has helped clients, his own clients, crush it month after month after month, making 10K or more with high ticket sales, as well as organic lead generation, not to be confused with paid ads, not to be confused with paid advertisements and having to just invest in your own traffic. We're talking about organic lead generation that costs you absolutely nothing. So if you like free, if you like organic, let us know in the comments. We're going to be sharing a lot more about that, maybe today, maybe some other time as well. There's just so much to learn. The education simply never ends, especially with this guy. Now, what really got me, one of the biggest things, is definitely this guy's super powerful story. Now, I don't want to dilute it. I don't want to saturate it by just kind of butchering it all over the place. So I'm going to let him share it. I'm going to let him tell you his story, because the way that he said it to me and the way that I heard it was definitely something that absolutely related to me, related to the way that I grew up, the way that I see my life right now as well. And I want to have that same impact for you. But just to give you a quick breather, a quick idea, he did start from the bottom. In fact, he also hit what I would consider, for many people to consider that their rock bottom as well. He went through hard times, just like what many of us are going through right now. And now he is here. He's achieved success. Not only that, he has helped other people, countless of them, how to do the exact same thing. He is an action taker. He achieves results, and he shows willingness to help other people as well. In fact, my very first Groove at Any Time, just a few weeks ago, he, along with Angie Norris, they were one of the first, among the first, in fact, to share it to their own members, to show support and to say, hey, watch this dude. He is sharing some really great knowledge and everything. So whenever you have any type of things that you're doing brand new, you always want that type of support from real friends. And I believe I just found a brand new friend in this guy right here. And also right after that, I started noticing, whether it's on his own page, on his own channel, or in his groups, he's doing his own live streams. He is a true motivator in every sense of the word. I first actually got connected with him. I saw him live on the Groovathon, just like how many of us, and I was absolutely blown away by not only what he shared, but also the inspiration that he has been able to achieve for many fellow groovesters as well. Known as G-Thang or G-Man, he got his way to the top, and he got the attention of the founders in spectacular fashion. I'm just going to show you something that I'm sure many of you who have been active in our groups have probably seen. This is what got him onto the map, got him onto the groups, and people like Mike, people like Donna, people like Coach Deb, they're like, oh my gosh, I need to get to know this guy. This guy is super cool, and this is what earned him this really cool G light that you see right behind him. So I'm sure I let the cat out of the bag already. You already know who I'm talking about because you just saw his picture, but that is just a small taste of the type of influence this guy has been able to make using unorthodox, creative ways to make sure that he gets himself known, to get the attention to all the way from the top. When Joe Jablonski shared this to, Groove JV group, to the groups, to our private chats, everyone was like, this is super cool. This is the guy that deserves so much attention, so much more than what he's being credited to. And I absolutely agree. He is somebody that now I also want to learn from. In fact, not only is he a professional influencer, yes, he influences people, he motivates them, he inspires them on a professional level, but also on a much more personal level as well. I was talking to him yesterday. In fact, yesterday, out of the blue, he just messaged me. He's like, hey, dude, are we going to do this? Are we going to go live this weekend? Blah, blah. And I said, yeah, let's do it. And we had a private chat. So he is active. He is proactive. He reaches out. And we were just talking about random things. We're talking about traveling. We're talking about Vietnam. We're talking about providing each other additional opportunities within the next few months because we have so much going on ourselves. And we just started talking about, traveling and food. And he talked about how, pho, Vietnamese main cuisine dish is one of his favorites, and that just influenced me to make my own that night. Obviously, not authentic, not the best by any means. We didn't even prepare the materials, the ingredients, or anything like the veggies and everything. They were not there, but that just got me to say, hey, I want that right now. That's how influential this guy is. And so now, not only is he going to influence you, he's also going to influence me. He's also going to talk more about not only his own story, but his own products, his own software, just whatever the case. We are just going to learn so much from this guy. I hope you're as excited as I am in this session. You can probably tell because I just spent the first 5, 6, 7 minutes talking all about this guy, and I normally don't do that. So now I believe it's time for you to stop hearing me and start hearing from him. So if you're as excited as I am, show this guy some virtual love. Give him a huge round of applause right there in the comments and help me welcome to the big virtual groove stage, Mr. TUAN. What's up, my man? Good to see you. Thank you for joining us.
Hey, what's going on, Simon? Groove community. Wow, what an introduction, bro. I was sitting there just soaking in all these affirmations and accolades, and I was like, hold up, man, Simon's going down, man. And dude, I'm honored just to be just given this opportunity just to be on this Groove Anytime. I want to give a shout out to everybody that's joining on the Facebook Live right now. Definitely do us a favor. Let us know where you guys are calling in from. I know that it's 9 o'clock where I'm at, but hey, with Groove Anytime, we're international, right?
We are a global community. We got friends from all over the world in your time zone and in mine. This one is Ryan from Westminster, British Columbia in Canada. We got Nicholas with Groove Pages Training joining us. Hey, another groovy day. He is in Australia, in Brisbane. So we got people from this time zone, Asia Pacific. We got people in the West. We got all our friends from around the world. And yes, as you can see, super duper excited to share with you and actually to see you, and you're going to be sharing with us. So absolutely super cool about that. So before we dive right into things, Mr. TUAN, I'm sure there are many people who evidently know you. We got many people who are brand new as well to the Groove community. And just so that we got people all bases covered, not just those who know you, who are watching us live, but also who may be watching on the replay 3 months from now, 6 months from now, going, wow, this is where it all started. Let's share with our fellow Groovesters more about you. I talked a little bit about your cool story and how it inspired and relates to me. I want it to be the exact same impact for whoever wants to listen in on us. So if you can be so kind, Mr. TUAN, let's spend the next few minutes just for you to share a little bit about you, share your story, and everything that is going to hopefully make an impact for all of our Groovesters here today.
Hey, absolutely. I would love to share my journey. And I guess the best way for me to really start off is if there was one phrase that I often use a lot to tell my story, I would say it's from prison to purpose. How many of you guys have been in prison before? Give me a hand raise, maybe yes, I've been there before. There's probably not going to be nobody confessing that they've been.
Does a tour of a prison count? Because I've been on tours.
Well, tours too. Maybe you just came to visit, but I've actually spent 10 years, Simon, 10 years in prison. I went to prison not once, not twice, but 3 times. And how I use my story now is I've always been good at networking and I've always been in sales. So now I tell people the reason why I went to prison was I wanted to be discovered, but I wasn't willing to be developed, right? Your boy wanted to be somebody, right? I was in search for validation. I wanted to be known as a person of value. I wanted to be famous, because growing up, you're in search for something that this world cannot give you. And I want you guys to really think about that, because the purpose factor is what I'm really going to drive in tonight as we really talk about how to become an online influencer and what does that take? What does that really mean? Most of you guys think that being an influencer is all about having a platform and having followers, but no, it starts with the people that you serve and then you get to the platform. All right, so keep that in mind. But I remember I was on a interview with John Cornetta, and I told John, I was like, John, I've always been in affiliate marketing. I just always had the wrong product. I was in the wrong affiliate marketing program. And not only that, I had the wrong product. I'm not going to mention what products I was selling, but you guys can catch my drift there. So I had the wrong product. Then I had the wrong purpose. I wanted to be like this gangster, this hustler, this drug kingpin. And then I also had the wrong passion. I wanted to be famous for all the wrong reasons. And then it wasn't, I got out 2 years ago. So roughly about 2 years ago was when I got out of prison. And I started off in the leadership coaching space because when I was in prison, I realized I had this gift. And I don't know if you guys can relate with me, but how many of you guys have tried to impress people with the things that you have? Like cars, money, maybe you had a nice girlfriend. I know I used to try to impress people with, beautiful women. And that was my way of finding validation. But when I went to prison, they shaved my hair off. Like literally, I was stripped away from everything that I had that was valuable. So just think about this. I had money, I had nice cars, I had women, I had power, I had some clout. And then when you go into prison, you get stripped of everything. I didn't even have any hair going into prison. They shaved it completely off. And so just think about this. I'm completely broken and shattered, tore up from the floor up. But God, and I'm going to speak from my faith life because I am a believer, and God was actually bringing me to a place where I call that the dark room. And I'm talking about where God had to place me in obscurity, where I was hidden from the worldly elements of the world, where no longer would I be conformed to what was trying to paint this image of. But then I started becoming transformed. And that's when I discovered that what made me valuable, Simon, was what God had placed inside me. And the whole time for over 30 years, I was trying to chase success rather than becoming a person of value. And can I tell you something? My last time going to prison, I got a 16-year sentence because I got snitched out by a so-called friend of mine that set me up with some narcotic officers, okay? And these guys were posing as these big-time drug dealers, and here I am. I'm dealing with these narcotic officers for 3 months, Simon. Had no clue. These guys were like my best friends, but the whole time they had this warrant on me, starting from day one. And here I am wheeling and dealing with them, and I had no idea what was going on. And I'll never forget that day when I finally got busted and I was facing 35 years to life. I'm sitting in the back of that cop car, and all I could think about was, man, here we go again. But I didn't make any excuses. I knew that I had a bigger call in my life than what I was doing. And you know what it was I've been running away from my calling this whole time. And then finally, when I went to prison, I just said, you know what? There's nothing I can do. I surrendered and I said, hey, God, I don't know what you got from me, but I'm laying it down. I'm surrendering my life and I'm not going to run no more. And those next 5 years became the best 5 years of my life because I discovered my gift. And my gift was always there. I'm operating in my gift right now. You can see that. I realized that I had a gift for communication. I had a gift for leadership, but I had to go to that place, that quiet place where I was completely broken and shattered. And God started building me up. And I started realizing, I was like, okay, I'm starting to see the big picture now. Meaning that if I stay focused on my gift, I'll become valuable if I stayed focused on this, and I'll always have a place. And, that's where my leadership journey started when I started coaching inmates, bro. I went from literally a prison gang leader. Yep. Your boy was a prison gang leader. I started off as a prison gang leader. And it's funny because there's not a lot of Asians in prison here. But here I am. I was leading a predominantly Hispanic gang. There's a few white guys in there too. But here you are. And that's when I started off. And then I went from there, and I went from gang leader to ministry leader. And then from there, I went to becoming the president of Toastmasters. All right. And if you know Toastmasters, it's an international public speaking club. And I remember this so clear. I had this journal where I was reading Zig Ziglar's book, See You at the Top. And one thing I want you guys to really think about is in this book, he says, if you ever get a chance to join a public speaking club, do it. So I wrote in my journal, I said, okay, yeah, that's cool. When I get a chance, I'm going to join a public speaking club. I never thought it was going to be in prison where I'd find Toastmasters. Okay. But you got to also think, would I really join a public speaking club on my own? Or would I be so busy trying to get somebody to come with me? One day when I was in prison, Simon, on the intercom, they said, Toastmasters, turn out. And I'm like, Toastmasters? What kind of class is this? And I asked one of my my cellies, and he goes, Toastmasters is a public speaking club, bro. I said, what? I need to go check it out. And bro, I know you're in the speaking lane, Simon. You probably know about Toastmasters, right? So I went down to Toastmasters that day, and I'm sitting in the back, and I'm watching these guys give these solid speech presentations that are timed with evaluations, and you got people evaluating them with, they're counting the ums, and the grammarian and all kind of stuff. And I'm sitting there like, oh, hell no. I'm not going to get up there. No freaking way. And I went back to my cubicle that day, and I was compromising with my dream here. Meaning that I started negotiating with my dream here in prison. So I sat back for literally 2 months, making every single excuse in the book, telling myself, nah, you're going to be you're good enough. Average is good enough for you. You don't need to do that. You don't need to step outside of your comfort zone. You can stay being average and nobody will know. And I played around for 2 months in my cubicle, wondering, man, what would that actually look like if I decided to jump and build my wings on the way down, step outside of my comfort zone and enter into this zone of discovery, and then see what happens. I said yes. I went to the window of life, just like a casino, and I decided to go all in. I decided to fail fast, fail often, and I'm going to fail forward. Do you realize 6 months later, after I decided to go all in, I became one of the most influential Toastmasters on that unit because of one decision I made to invest in my personal growth despite fear and rejection of man. And I went all in. And that was the beginning of my journey, bro, of just really tapping into leadership and just really going all in and learning how to really coach people. But not only that, communication. Speaking, bro, is so powerful. And I'm not the best speaker, but here's what I can say about it. The perception that people have when you can speak effectively and communicate with clarity, or I would say cast vision, most people perceive you as a person of value because they think that you're good at everything else. Is that true? When you see someone that can speak and communicate, automatically you're thinking, this person's probably good at coaching. He's probably good at leadership, because that's the perception you bring to the marketplace when you can communicate with clarity, confidence, and consistency. And that, my friends, is how you reproduce others, because those 3 C's will equal conversions.
Wow. Super powerful stuff, and I hope that you're all watching this and you got impacted just like how I got impacted yet again just watching it. And you're absolutely right, Tuan. It all boils down to one major decision, and I believe that whatever decisions that you make in your life, whichever forks in the road, whatever paths that you decide to choose, is going to dictate where you're going to be going next, or maybe ultimately end up when it comes to, you know, your success, when it comes to achieving your goals and everything else. And what really inspires me about you is that you're using your story, where a lot of people may be ashamed to share. A lot of people may not be comfortable to talk about it. A lot of people may actually want to even hide it or bury it and not even talk about it, but you use it to inspire, and you use it as a way to teach other people and say, hey, you know, these are the mistakes that I made in my life, but because I made those mistakes, it gave me the opportunity to progress in this unorthodox way, which still led me to where I believe I'm destined to be. And so this also inspires me. I've never, ever shared this. I shared this with you about 10 minutes before we went on live, but I also myself grew up in the hood in Frisco.
I knew it, bro. I knew it, bro. You're hood, man.
You got I mean, once a G, always a G. The OG kind of, you can take a boy out of the hood, but you can't take the hood out of the boy, right? So with all of that, once in a while, yes, I do reflect and I do go back into that space in my time, but I've never shared it. It wasn't something that I felt like it was something that was necessary in my journey. It wasn't something that I felt like it was something that others necessarily needed to know. And yes, even though I'm not in that space now, and I've never, you know, done things to the point where it landed me into jail, you know, I did have to visit people in jail. I did have to go there, and I joked about going on tours. It wasn't like a friendly tour or anything. It was on a tour because I was actually seeing people that I knew who were on the inside. You know, not the groove funnels, my feel simple, will see you on the inside. This is the other kind of inside. But this is obviously something that I believe now, especially being on the show with you, is something that is worthwhile for us to share, because it does tell us that a lot of times we all end up being surrounded by very similar people, and we get surrounded by very similar opportunities. And in the end, it does depend on your own decisions. It depends on which path you decide to go that will start to dictate which path you're going to start to take in your own life. And the major thing is, don't look back on it in shame. Don't look back on it with regrets. Think of everything as a part of your growth. It's because of all the mistakes that you made. It's because of that particular path that led you inside the walls, and you're in there, and you're kind of getting presented with opportunities to learn how to speak, to be presented with opportunities to become a speaker. And you had no idea that was going to lead you into greatness, right? All the ahs and all the things that we want to avoid. Hey, I don't want to deal with any of that stuff. If I want to say ah, I'm going to say ah. If I'm going to say I'm going to say and ain't nobody going to stop me, right? But there you go. Now you're there, and you open up your mind to different opportunities, different perceptions. And now it has led you to so much more than you could ever even imagine for yourself. So the same message to all of our friends right here in Groove. You know, I'm sure you, Tuan, you see the same people that I do. People who are like, complaining about the product. You are in beta. Why am I investing in all this, 1,000 plus just to get a non-working product? What about all these trainings? Why are they so long? Why are they so short? Why is it not enough? Why is it never what I want? Why is this during the times that I am not awake? Why is it in the middle of the night? Blah, blah, blah. You see so many complaints, right? You see so many people, but it's not so much a complaint about the products. It's not a complaint about the training. It's not a complaint about the content. Because I assure you, the exact same people who might be in the exact same position that you are in right now, in the exact same time zones, who also are very busy, they are making it work, right? So they're using that time and they're, as you said, not making excuses. So the problem is not the content, it's not the training, it's not the product, it's you. Right? It's you not being open to the concept of change, to the possibility that you can make some adaptations to yourself and you can be better. Because we have people who are all around the world, global, as you mentioned, from all walks of life in different situations, who are here appreciating and making things work. So that's why I say, for being here and for inspiring all of us with your story, it is definitely something that I believe all of us can take with a grain of salt. You mentioned, you learn a lot about yourself. You learn a lot about other people, your so-called friends, as you start to adapt, as you start to whatever part of your life you're in. You could be getting and working your way up. You could be at the top already. It could be something that's ahead of you. You're going to be an ultimate success. You're going to be a leader. You're going to be a speaker. You're going to be a huge influencer, just like Tuan, just like what he's going to be teaching about what to do today for all of us. And what you'll realize is that all these people whom you consider to be your friends, right? They were there for you because they were on the way up just like you. They were there for you because they want to learn from you. They were there for you because they feel like with your influence, you can help them. But the moment something better comes along, a better opportunity, they see something else, the shiny object syndrome, right? They will blink an eyelid. No, they won't. They will bat an eyelid. No, they won't. They will blink twice. No, they won't. To just stab you in the back and just say, forget about you. You're no longer important to me. This is what I'm in for. I'm in it for myself. Okay, so that's one thing that we do need to realize. And I know that we're going off a little bit on a tangent. Yes, it still has to do with becoming an influencer. Yes, it does still have to do with becoming a leadership, but it also has to do with you having the foresight to identify who in your life are your real friends, who in your life are going to be people who will have your back, who will be there for you. Because right now, I'm sure, Tuan, you can also see so many people, especially in 2020. It happened way before even 2020, but so many people now, because they're so desperate, right? They want to create their own products. And this year, more than ever, people are going online and they're saying, even though I don't want to be a speaker, I don't want to be a trainer, I don't want to talk, they're forcing themselves to go on the Zooms, to go on the GoToWebinars, and some people do it over Skype, whatever, right? They start doing their own talking, they create their own products, even though they themselves have never walked through the journey like you and I. They never went through the school of hard knocks. They don't know the first thing about making money online, becoming successful, becoming a leader, and yet they're there and they're selling their own products and they're trying to make money out of the desperation of other people. I mean, dude, there is just so much that you can learn from that, right? There is just so much that you can see through people who do those kinds of things. And those are not the kind of people that you can trust in the long haul. For people like Tuan, he is up here and he is sharing with us, man. He's dropping knowledge bombs and he is intending to come back time and time again, even if we have no direct association in the matrix of groove, right? We have no financial association with you whatsoever, but here we are sharing with you. This is how you know true leadership. True people who are genuinely sharing from the kindness of their heart, selflessly wanting to be here to help each and every single one of us, sharing their journey, sharing their passion, sharing their stories to inspire other people. So obviously, that is something that we absolutely want to thank you, Mr. Tuan, for being here and sharing with us about. And of course, we have people who are saying hi. And yes, happy to see you. You are always a motivator. You don't need me to start off by saying Tuan is going to inspire you. He is going to motivate you. He's going to make you feel good in your chart. Nah, dude, people know that, man. People know that about you just with a very small amount of interaction that they've had with you, whether it's on the Groovathon or whether it's on your own shows or whether it's on the Groove Star group or whatever else, right? There's so many people who are just, enamored by you and everything that you have to share. So I think with that, let's move on a little bit to the influencer side of you, because you shared how the being on the inside and being locked up, to many people that is a huge restriction, right? It's a bigger restriction than not being able to go outside of your house, having to wear a mask or not wear a mask, and all those different things that people are complaining about today. But if they actually compare to what you went through, then they would actually know what true struggle actually is. Literally having no control whatsoever. You don't have control. You can't say, oh yeah, I'm going to have these things, these handcuffs behind my back. I don't want to get handcuffed. I don't want to be in my cell. I'm going to go out and protest, right? I'm going to go out and I'm going to riot inside of my jail cells and amongst my jail cellmates or whatever else, because I don't want to be here, because I want things to change. Now, you literally had no choice, right? You were basically bounded, and you were kind of like, whatever they say that I need to do, I gotta do, man. I have no choice. Otherwise, what are they gonna beat me? Are they gonna not feed me? Are they going to put me into isolation? You literally have no idea what they're gonna do to you. So, I mean, for people who are in similar situations, not little situations, but similar situations where they feel like they are, like for me, for example, I'm locked up. I'm on semi lockdown. So it's almost like jail to many people. Other people, they're like, oh yeah, I can't go out. Like the whole California people are really upset because they feel like they have no freedom. They have no control. What would you say to them? What got you through in that particular, before we get into the influencer part, what got you through into thinking bigger, into finding that this maybe is a loophole into an additional opportunity? What other similar opportunities do you see for our fellow Groovesters or anybody who could be watching us right now on YouTube, on Twitch, on Facebook pages, or groups who might not be a part of the Groove community yet? What would you say this as an opportunity, and how would you encourage them to take advantage of this opportunity to go through what you went through and overcome those preliminary, I would say, problems, those preliminary challenges and obstacles that you put in front of yourself, and how to oversee that, overcome that, and push through and push forward? What would you say to them?
Something that comes to mind is the word purpose. When you don't really know your purpose, what most likely will happen is you'll misuse it and abuse it. Okay. And so I think that's the key right there, is number one, identifying what my potential is. What's my purpose, right? People don't hate pain. What people hate is going through pain without a purpose. I want you to think about the beginning of 2020, right? Just think about how we started 2020, right? I know when I started 2020, I was on fire. My word for 2020 was innovation. My theme was dominate the decade. Ooh, gosh, that was in January. But I would never have thought that 3 months down the line, leading to March, I would have to learn the word pivot. How many of you guys had to pivot in 2020? And when I say pivot, what I'm saying is we have to make shifts in life. Sometimes we have to stop and evaluate our scoreboard. And in 2020, in March, I had to stop and evaluate, hold up, what does my scoreboard look like right now? And if I don't make the proper adjustments and execute, then I might not win in the second half. And so it starts with that. So, one thing I can say is learning to pivot was the biggest shift for me, because pivoting required me to do things that I normally wouldn't do. And I want you guys to think about this. We can't expect to act the same, talk the same, even dream the same in a world that's constantly not remaining the same. I shifted everything online. I started off as a leadership coach. Spent my first year in the midst of the struggle. Why? Because I was trying to find my authentic voice in the midst of the noise. How many of you guys are trying to find your voice right now in the midst of the noise? Right? Because what's going to separate you in the marketplace? I'll tell you what's going to separate you in the marketplace. It's your authenticity. It's your story. It's your unique personality. And if you want influence, you're going to have to do things that others are not willing to do. So what are you willing to do? Influence is leadership. Even if you're just leading one person or maybe 100 or thousands of people, leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. We are all leaders in some type of way or another, whether you're an introvert or an extrovert. But who are you leading? Because here's what I want you to think about. Until we learn how to lead ourselves, how do we expect to lead people into a product or an offer that we have? The way you lead and communicate on social media is the way people are going to brand you at the end of the day. I love what Amazon founder Jeff Bezos says. He says, branding is what people say about you when you're not in the room. And I'm talking to you right now. What are people saying about you in 2020 leading into 2021? Are they saying anything about you? Or maybe they're saying the wrong thing about you. But whatever the case is, it might be you have a branding problem. See, it starts off with who do I know? But where you want to get to in 2021 is I start from who do I know? And it gets to the point where who knows me? That's the power of influence. I don't want you to get caught up in chasing after this platform. I want you to start off with serving that one person. You're only one connection away. I don't want you to focus on skyrocketing your affiliate sales. That will come later. What I want you to focus on is mastering the art of connection. Influence matters. How do I become an influencer? I start serving people. I get interested in people. See, there's a big difference where I connect to a person's heart and then I ask for the hand versus asking for the sale and never connecting to the heart. I see so many online marketers and affiliates do it all wrong because they're chasing after the dollar when they should be chasing after the heart of the people. Man, the key is connecting to a person's heart. If you learn how to master communication and connecting leading into 2021, you're going to become a person of value. I want you guys to type this in the chat right now. There is power in proximity because who you learn from matters and who you play with matters, who's hot and who's not.
Absolutely. Dude, I think that is just the who knows you part is one thing that I think when you first said that to me was what hit home, because you're absolutely right. And a lot of even what I did for the past, you mentioned, 2020 starting off on a whole different note, and that's a completely different conversation that we can have later on. But you're absolutely right in terms of who actually knows you, because for a very long time, it's always been, it's not just what you know, it's who you know. But so what if you know all these people? Like, I know Tom Cruise, but Tom Cruise doesn't know me. It's not going to make a big difference in one way or another, right? So it's whoever actually knows who you are and the way that you've been able to prove time and time again that you can actually get in very creative ways. Like earlier, we showed the picture of the G right in the back of your head. That was something that really got the attention of people who are, quote unquote, the powers that be, who maybe previously didn't know you or know you as well as they should. But now they're like, oh man, this guy is cool. This guy I would go out and have a beer with. This guy I would go out and party with, right? Not just another person in the community, not just somebody else that, yeah, let's go out and have a meeting and I'll teach you one or two things. Now they want to be buddies with you. Like people like Mike and people like Donna and Coach Steph, you just need to see all the things that they were saying. The moment that they saw your picture, they're like, oh my gosh, this guy's so cool. What can we do for him? This is commitment. This is dedication, like all these things. And the entire Groove team, they were all just chiming in all at the same time. So the kind of things that you do, the character that you are, the way that you reach out are all different ways that you can make that type of influence. You can create that kind of influence. And yes, going back into the whole 2020 thing, I know exactly what you're talking about, because for me, something very similar, I had an objective to continue to expand. For the last 1 or 2 years, I had been focusing on live events. I've been doing a lot of live events right here in Malaysia. I had 2 offices in Penang and also in KL. But in the last couple of years, we also expanded with the exact same YouTuber course that I've been teaching, an internet marketing course in SEO. We expanded into your hometown, Vietnam. We expanded into Thailand. We went to Taiwan, we went to Singapore, we went to Indonesia, we went to so many different places. And the goal was always to continue to expand, because I wanted the opportunity, number one, the fun stuff, right? To travel, to try and do different things. Traveling was always a big part of our hobbies and what I did with my family. Every time I went to one of those live events, I took them with me. But also, I knew that there were a lot of people from all walks of life with different backgrounds, where their own societies didn't give them the same opportunity as what we can give them, as long as they make the commitment to learn online. I'll share with you, when the last time that I went to Vietnam, we went to Hanoi and we went to Ho Chi Minh City. I have my youngest student who is 8 years old, and she now today makes more money than people who are in the West with doctor degrees, with graduate degrees, with whatever other degree, master degrees even, and doctor degrees. She makes more money in her own home with whatever she has, not like a super expensive MacBook Pro, not with anything else that is, super high caliber. She doesn't need the latest and greatest iPhone 12. She used something that she's always had, something that was slow and struggling. Maybe some people won't even call it a laptop. She's just using whatever she can. If she needs to, she borrows it. And she has now achieved more success than many people, even in the West, who had been given those opportunities, who knew other people, who had other people, big names, know them. She, along with other people, also now are inspiring other people to also learn new things, right? And so when I decided that I wanted to expand, I wanted to say in 2020, I'm going to go beyond that. I'm going to go to other places, maybe to places like India, to Pakistan, to other places where I know in smaller villages, in smaller communities, those people need very similar types of motivation, knowledge, training to change their lives as well. And of course, for me, and just like everybody else, the entire world has changed, right? Things that we cannot control, not only for us, not only in the environment, but also some under the mercy of the government, under the lockdown and what they control. So at the end is absolutely what is going to be your own decision that is going to change your life. And I'll tell you, it's not going to be your government. It's not going to be who your president is. I have been in different countries for the past several years. From the US, I moved to Hong Kong, I then moved to China, I then moved to Indonesia, I then moved to Singapore, and now I'm in Malaysia. And I will tell you, in each and every single one of these countries, almost everybody, at least the locals, none of them are happy with their governments. Sure, one can be better than the other. And if you're here in Malaysia, maybe you think that the Singapore government is very, very cool. But when you're in Singapore, that people think that the Singapore government are not, So there's wherever you're going to be, you're not going to be happy. And ultimately, it doesn't matter who your president is. It doesn't matter who your king is. It doesn't matter who your queen is. It doesn't matter who is your governor or your senator or who is your prime minister. The person that's going to make the difference in your life and make 2021 better than 2020 and even better than all the years before that is absolutely gonna be you. Nobody else. I can be here all day giving you all the training that you want on Groove at any time. Tuan can actually motivate you until the cows come home, right? All day long. But if you ain't gonna take no action, you're not gonna do anything with it. You're just gonna sit back, you're gonna continue to complain and whine and say, oh God, why me? Why is this pandemic happening? Why is my business shut down? Why can't I go to work? Why can't I do this? Why can't I go that? Compare yourself to the 8-year-old girl in Vietnam, where her own family, her own society doesn't even give her a fraction of the opportunities that we all have right now. The internet that she has, the connection, the tablet that she uses to go online is not even good enough to smoothly watch what we're talking about here right now. It's not even smoothly going to stream this entire show for her. So if you're able to watch us, you're on a computer, you're in the comfort of your own home, you have a stable Wi-Fi connection, you have no excuse, right? The time zone is not an excuse. Your time is valuable. I don't have time for this 1 hour training or all these 2-hour trainings. Well, surprise, if time is valuable to you, it's also valuable to everybody else, including us, including the trainers, including the people in front of the camera. If it's not valuable, they're not going to waste your time. They're not going to waste their own time sharing it with you. The people who are successful, who get the results, are the people who make time. They don't make excuses. They make the time to learn, to improve, do what they can to make sure that they do their own due diligence to make it happen. Nobody's responsible for you, man. Nobody is here to say, I'm going to give you this 1 hour training or 2 hour training, and I'm going to breathe down your neck like a mosquito and say, you must do this. No, you need to be responsible and take responsibility to put that into action. If it's not for you, fine, walk away, right? Appreciate what's been given to you, but don't complain about it. Because if you start complaining and things are not good enough for you anymore, imagine a year from now, 2 years from now, 5 years from now, when you finally elevate yourself into a leader, how would it be if people do not appreciate what you do? I'll also say that type of attitude is going to limit you in terms of how far you will go as well. Because if you can't appreciate all the things that are happening around you, how can you be appreciative of yourself? Because in due time, you're going to say, oh, what I'm doing right now is also not good enough. How can I continue to improve? And all these are going to be blockers for you to not go to the next step, to not be able to change lives and impact millions more through the power of the Groove community. So yes, absolutely. Everything that Tuan shared about, pivoting, about making that adaptation into what is happening to you right now. As they say, life throws you lemons, you make lemonade, right? And you make sure that you do what you can to improve the better part of it. And so for all of me, and not all of us, not all of me, but all of us here, including me, including myself, who are now, let's say, ready to take that next step. We're ready. And we say, yes, we want people to know me. And what other ideas, Tuan, do you have in addition to, the Gucci poses that you always have that, yes, are absolutely attention grabbing? And if you don't know what I'm talking about, just go to Tuan's profile, man. Go to his pages, go to his channels, check out some of the cool pictures. And I jokingly said, you should leave those shades on, because during the pre-show, he put on those shades and it was like, dude, yeah, man, we're just gonna do it. We're just gonna OG says that. Keep them on, man. Keep them on, because that's like your brand. You are OG. Now you're OGG. You're like original Groove Gangsta, and the other G also stands for Gucci, because you got those poses. You're like in front of the I don't know if it's like a private jet or whatever else, but you're just like, dude,
no private jet, bro.
I mean, whatever, man. You're just like, you're the epitome of lifestyle, of freedom, and you got all those poses to prove it, And so with all of that, I mean, go there and check out Tuan. This guy knows how to brand. This guy knows how to influence. And let's say people don't want to carve G's on the back of their head. Let's say people don't have those cool sun. There it is, Let's say people don't got those cool shades and people don't got those cool poses. What suggestions, what tips, what advice do you have for them? People who are just starting out, they want to actually become figures of influence. What's their first step? What should they do next? How should they actually rebrand themselves, their pages, their channels, or whatever other platform that they might have? How can they also become influencers?
And of course, I'm really going to be speaking from the Facebook platform because that's really where I really started off. Started back in June. It was a conversation I had with Angie Norris. I think she just popped on. I want to give her a shout out. Shout out to Angie Norris. She's recovering right now, but she's coming back stronger. I see Kathy Walls too. I want to give them a shout out. They're like my big sisters in Groove. But when we go back to the power of proximity, here's what I want you guys to think about. The power of proximity says something like this. There's 10 people in your network right now that can take you to the next level. Who are they? And the key I want you to focus on is intentionality. Look, growth doesn't happen automatically. You have to be intentional about connecting with other people. I'm talking about borrowing influence. Borrowed influence matters. When I first started off in the online space, I didn't have any clout. I didn't have any credibility. You know how many podcasts and interviews I jumped on in that first year, Simon? A bunch. Did I make any money from them? No. But I took every opportunity I had to hone in on telling my story, even though I didn't really have an offer. But what that did was it gave me a voice in the marketplace. And I want you to think about this. If you can help me type this in the chat right now, the one thing I want you to leave with tonight, if you want to gain influence, is find your authentic voice. Type this in the chat. Authenticity has no competition. Authenticity has no compromise. And authenticity has no room for comparison. Come on. And when you hone on that right there, your authenticity will not only attract the right tribe, but your pain will become a passport. And let me go in. Let me preach real good on a Saturday night. Come on. It's probably Sunday over there. Your pain becomes a passport, which if you use your pain wisely, it becomes your product. And that's where profit comes in. Look, I don't care where you've been. I know some of you have struggled during this pandemic, but can I share something with you? With every struggle, there comes opportunity, but I need you to see it. We don't go into an opportunity. We have to grow into an opportunity. The reason why most of us miss out on the opportunity is because we didn't recognize it when it came through. And then after that opportunity passes up, they're like, oh my gosh, I just missed it. Because I wasn't ready for that time when opportunity showed up. That's why there's a big difference leading into 2021 is, am I going through 2021 or will I grow through 2021? There's a big difference versus one person that's interested versus a person that's committed. I'm asking you right now, are you interested or are you committed? Because if you're interested, you do what's convenient. But if you're committed, you're going to do whatever it takes. I want you to think about this. Who do I need to connect with in 2021, right? Connecting to the right people and borrowing their influence is a great way to find your voice. Let me share this with you, and I'm going to pass it back to you, Simon. The greatest question that you need to be asking in 2021 is, who do you know that I need to know? Type that in the chat. Who do you know that I need to know? The most powerful networking question leading into 2021 as an online entrepreneur is, who do you know that I need to know? Because here's the truth. The truth is this. On a surface level, a lot of people are undecided about what they want to do. It's the same with jumping and building a profitable online business. The key is in your network. Your network matters. In the beginning, you have to focus on communication and connecting. You don't have a lot of credibility in the beginning. Communication must take place before credibility. So when you're starting off right now, Focus on communications, connecting, and networking. Borrowed influence is a key in getting known in the marketplace. You can't do it alone. I'm telling you, I've connected with so many influencers that were way ahead of me. And because I was intentional about reaching out, they brought me on the journey because they saw my diligence in wanting to go to the next level. And you have to be intentional about that. Every stage, every platform opens up another window of opportunity for you to be somebody. And you become more confident. You learn how to articulate your story. You learn how to craft your offer. Learn how to pitch. Sometimes you have to start off as a zero before becoming a hero. It's the honest truth. Connecting to the right people, borrowing their influence is key. If you don't know what you want, you're more than likely not going to get it. And if you don't know who you want to connect with, the right connections, the best connections will probably never happen. Making connections is a combination of knowing what you want and who do I want it with. So who do you want it with? You're only one connection away. And I'm going to say this again. I'm going to pass it back to Simon. The power of proximity says who I play with matters, who's hot and who's not. So who do you know that I need to know?
As they say, your network, right, is your net worth. And so for me, I definitely see this as something that has definitely opened up the doors ever since the existence of the Groove community. Because for all the people that I previously knew, I was very lucky to have gotten started back in 2006, attended my first seminar, met people like Mike and Tom Beal and Donna and Coach Steph, and a lot of people right now who are actually within the leadership of Groove. I met them all the way back in the day. And I instantly became, like a speaker. I instantly became, somewhat of a well-known person in the space at that time. And because of that, because I continued to travel to all these different seminars, I got to know a lot of these big name gurus and all these people who are, the who's who. They're my friends, and I've been very lucky to be on the inside circle, so to speak, and continue to know them through all these years. But I will also say not everybody had that same opportunity. Yes, for those who actually came to the seminars that I went to and got to know the people within those circles and hung out in the same space, we basically all know each other. But then fast forward just 1 or 2 years later, a lot of those seminars kind of went away. Not to the same extent as they used to be. And so for a very long time, for maybe over a decade, it became a space where if you knew people, then you knew people. If you didn't, then tough luck. You would maybe be able to connect with them on social media. Maybe you would be able to like their page, and maybe you can leave a comment on whatever it is. But most of the time, they're not going to say anything back, and they're not going to respond to you. They're going to try and sell you their products and their mentorship and their courses, whatever else. And that's the way maybe if you invest $10,000, $25,000 USD, that's when you get to connect with them. I would say the Groove community completely changed all that, because now who is to say that if you find a really big name, we're not just talking about Mike, but let's just say Mike, for example, where else are you going to be able to find a community where you can literally be one click away from messaging Mike and he will actually respond to you? Where will you be able to see for free, even if you're a completely free member, any one of Mike and his friends, like Rich Sheffrin, right? Like a lot of big names like Joel Bauer, like Perry Belcher, and all these other big names that we saw on the Groovathon, where they can be welcomed back at any moment within the Groove community. Where else are you going to be able to communicate with them? You're going to be able to send them a message. You get to watch them live, and you actually get to connect with them, right? This is probably one of the best opportunities. When we're talking about opportunities, one of the best opportunities for you to be feeling the gratitude, to be thankful for, to be here, right now. Because if you talk about just as recently as a year ago, if you want to hear from people like Joel Bauer, if you want to hear from people like David Kavanaugh or Alicia Little, all these people, that are big time gurus in that space and have been around for a very long time, they were never ever this accessible. I can guarantee you they were never ever this accessible unless you knew them, unless you've paid them, unless you're in that inner circle, unless you've hung out with them, unless you've met them in person. There isn't anywhere else, any other community that is so robust, so diverse that you literally can meet anybody that you want and they only would be one connection away. So who do you know that I should know? And if you know somebody, and that is a really legitimate question that you could be asking anybody within the Groove community, because if you want to meet anybody, they would only be 1 degree of separation away. And so all these people that are right now within our Groove community, I don't think that we realize just how lucky we are to be here, not only to learn from the best of the best, the top of the top. For me as well, I would probably say anybody who is a who's who, either I know them or they are only 1 degree of separation away as well. So if there's anyone that you want to know, of course, notwithstanding Tuan, he's definitely somebody that you should get to know as well. But now you should also get to know him as well. You should also know him as well because he's a part of our community, man. He's already right here. He's accessible to you just like he is to everyone else, just like how I am to all of you. And we're here to interact and be here for you as well. And so with all of that, I believe there is so much, speaking of opportunity, I do honestly, especially with this passing year, absolutely agree that opportunity is something that if it passes, once the moment is gone, it is gone forever. It's something that I always say, always talk about at my seminars, on my speeches, on webinars, or just even one-on-one meetings, or just chatting with my mentees if the opportunity comes up. Just the notion, the concept of grasping opportunities. We all know that if it's an opportunity, it's just like a train. Once it passes, it's gone. It's cliche. It's something that we've all heard about. We've heard the story about the Mark Zuckerberg before Facebook became Facebook. He had a meeting with 4 people, or he invited 4 people to his Harvard dorm room to discuss this business idea. Only 1 person showed up, and that 1 person, or maybe 2, I don't even remember the actual number, but they're now multi-billionaires, right? And all the other people who didn't show up, they're probably kicking themselves in their butt with the back of their legs or whatever else every single day, right? Because they missed the opportunity. Once an opportunity passes you by, it is gone forever. We've heard all those types of stories. We know how to relate because yes, time passes by and everything else. But last night with the missus, we were having a conversation. We're talking about how this year is so completely different because obviously during the holidays, we're not planning on going on any vacations. We're not going to be going anywhere. Last year, we went to Taiwan. The year before that, we went to Korea. The year before that, we were in Vietnam. The year before that, we were in Thailand. The year before that, we were like in Indonesia. The year before that, we were in Hong Kong. Every single year, we would travel during the holidays and maybe even every 1 or 2 months we would travel. That was just our entire lifestyle. That was the lifestyle that we chose. This year, completely different. Not only did we not travel after March, right? We actually never even have the opportunity because our country right here in Malaysia, we're locked down through the rest of the year. And even in 2021, we don't even know when they're going to be open up the borders again. And so for us, we talked about how, it's so different. Good thing that we traveled when we could. Good thing we did all those things when we were able to, because now we're not able to do any of those things anymore. And we got into a much deeper conversation. We talked about how her father was a big part of our family, and he had walking issues, and he wasn't able to, very conveniently be able to go around and things like that. And so we wanted to take him on holiday. We wanted to take him to hang out and to play to different places where we've been planning and talking about it for a very long time, but we never got the opportunity to do that because before we knew it, he got sick. And there was one opportunity right before that happened where right here in Penang, as a family, we got invited by one of my missus's brothers to one of the tourist spots, the highest point in Penang. And for a full day, we got to hang out with them. We got to play, we created memories, and we, took pictures and everything else. And shortly after that, he got cancer. And shortly after that, unfortunately, he's no longer with us. So we were just talking about how if we even just missed out on that opportunity, right? We never got that call. We never got those tickets to that amusement park, or that, that touristy spot or whatever else. And that never happened. We would have missed out on the one and only opportunity for us to take him out, to do anything, to create those memories, because now that opportunity is gone. We can't turn back time. We can't recreate anything that we missed out on. So it's the exact same thing with any other type of opportunity. It doesn't have to be as personal as that. It doesn't have to be as sentimental as that. But just like everything else, the opportunity right now is wide open for us. If you wanted to join us, the opportunity to get yourself be known and make a name for yourself, and somehow be in a position of influence so that you can be a part of the 14-day Groovathon, as TUAN was able to. Well, back then, right, that was when the opportunity happened. But now the 14-day Groovathon is gone. That opportunity is gone alongside with it. Right now, we still have the opportunity to get in on the platinum lifetime membership. Is it going to be around forever? Absolutely not. Once the opportunity is gone, it's also going to be gone forever. You want to make 2021 the best year of your life yet, and you want to spend the rest 2.5 weeks that we have left in 2020 to set that up, to make that happen. Once it's gone, the year is gone, that is gone forever. You want to take the opportunity to join TUAN on his very first live Groove at any time. It's happening right here, right now. Once it's gone, it's gone. You can watch the replay. Yes, you can join us in future sessions. Yes, but the opportunity for you to actually be here, watch TUAN live on his first Groove anytime, once that's gone, it's over, right? So they say there's only one chance to make a first impression. There's only one chance as well for you to take advantage of the opportunity that might happen at that time, at that place, at that moment. So we need to really appreciate and feel blessed for all the different opportunities. As a lot of actors, right? If you're in the entertainment space, they ask you if you know how to do something, you say yes first and you learn how to do it later, right? You know how to speak French, oui, right? And then you learn how to speak it later. And so with all of that, it's the exact same thing right now. Hey, do you want to be a part of the Groove team? Do you want to volunteer to be a guest? Do you want to, share something with us, collaborate on a video? Do you want to help out and volunteer as part of everything that we're doing? You don't know how you're going to help. You don't have any skills. You don't know what you can do to contribute. Say yes first, and then ask, what can I do later, right? We say, maybe you can help us to train. Maybe you can help us to do some live streams. Maybe you can help us to do X, Y, and Z, do some video editing. Okay, you don't know how to do it? Learn how to do it really quickly and then come back and help out. Say yes first to the opportunity, because once that opportunity is gone, now you're looking back and you say, oh, I want to be a part of that. I want to be on that team. Once it's gone, it is gone forever. So make sure you don't let those opportunities and those moments pass you by. That is why we are here with all these different types of opportunities all the time. We want to see the fast action takers, those who are committed, those who want to take fast action, to be a part of everything that we do, because we're going to be up doing bigger and better things. Now, speaking of bigger and better things, I think that for you, Mr. TUAN, you have so many things that you have already shared with us on what you've been doing, helping your clients, becoming a leader, and helping other people make 10K a month and all those things. What do you have planned in the future? And especially speaking of opportunity and speaking of our Groovesters taking advantage of these moments, what do you have planned so that they have time to set themselves up and see what's coming soon from Mr. TUAN, how they can learn more from you? What is it that you have in store? I mean, we talked about your products that are coming out. We talked about your courses that are coming out. What do you have in store for us? What do you have stored not only for the Groove community, but beyond that to share more value? Because I know, just like me, you've made it a passion. You've made it a mission, a vision even, to share as much value as you can, to help as many people, as long as they're open to being helped. As long as they're open-minded, you want to do as well what you can do to help people, to groom leaders, to hone new skills and get them up and running beyond 2021. Even after that, become the leaders and successes that they are destined to be. What do you have planned for us that we can look forward to in the upcoming year, in the next upcoming months, that we can continue to learn more from you?
That's a great question there. I definitely want to draw some curiosity instead of giving you guys everything. But, I think you guys already feel where my passion is. My passion is really behind leadership. I truly believe that people don't buy into products. They buy into you being confident of the product. Okay. And that's a big part of how do I lead people into a product, whether it be Groove Funnels, whether it be my own coaching program, whatever it is. Leadership is essential for growing your online business because number one, it starts with yourself, right? You can't grow yourself and grow others until you first identify what potential do I have, right? So leadership is going to be a big part of how I'm going to help the Groove community moving forward. Some of you guys already know that I have really took a strong interest into software and just really teaching on organic lead generation. I don't know if you guys know most of my story, but I discovered the power of organic marketing back in June with my Groove bestie Angie Norris. And she often says we were like complete newbies when we started off, right? And I gotta say, I didn't really know too much about affiliate marketing at all. I jumped into Groove because I love the lifetime deal. Who loves lifetime? I know I do. And I didn't even think that I was going to make money off Groove Funnels. That wasn't even in my radar. And I just had a conversation with Angie Norris one day. And as we just talked about it, I just followed what she was doing. I followed what she was doing with organic marketing. And one thing led to another. A 1K sale turned into literally a 20K estimated commissions in literally 45 days. And I started realizing, I was like, whoa, I did this without a funnel. I did this without this course. I didn't even spend a dime on paid ads. So I knew that there was power in organic marketing. And so based on my experience, based on my results, based on some of the killer bonuses I've been able to incorporate now with all my affiliates, I want to bring something new to the Groove digital space. And hopefully I might have an opportunity maybe in the future if that opportunity arises where, maybe I can present that. But I'm working on something pretty cool behind the scenes that's going to really help Groove members really skyrocket their affiliates. I'm working with Angie too with Groove Stars Ascend right now. But I got something cool that I'm working on right now. I can't give you guys all the details. So let's just say that that's just a little teaser for now.
Teasers are always good. And yeah, I mean, I'm also a believer in never letting the cat out of the bag too early. But at the same time, this is just exactly what we mean when we're talking about opportunities, right? Because Tuan, he came on board and like he said, man, he wasn't even interested. He had no idea, wasn't even planning on making money with Groove. But here he is now making commissions and also seeing some additional opportunities to also spread some additional value to fellow Groovers. So I honestly believe that whatever it is that Mr. Tuan has to share is going to be absolute gold, just like how, Angie and so many of our fellow Groove stars have been able to see the potential in what Tuan has been able to offer, gave him the opportunities to take the stage and absolutely just blew everybody away. This is the exact type of thing that we can come to expect from Mr. Tuan himself. And so before we actually let all of you go because I think it's getting a little bit late where you are right now, Mr. Tuan. If you have any questions for Tuan, now is your opportunity to put them into the comments. Let us know while we still have Mr. Tuan right here with us, what kind of questions you have for him, what you would like to know, and everything else, because I believe with just that little bit of a teaser that you mentioned earlier, within just I forgot the actual amount of time, like a month or a couple of months, without even realizing it, without a list, without a funnel, without much experience at all whatsoever, you were still able to generate, your tens of thousands in commissions just with organic results alone. And so with that, I think it is a great teaser if you're willing, Mr. Tuan, to come back for a future session and talk more about that, because I'm sure many people, just like how they learned a lot from you today on how to become an influencer, a successful influencer, also want to see how they can get started. Let's not talk about the 10K commissions. Let's not talk about the 6 figures in sales, like what you and Angie have been able to do. Let's talk about if you're just getting started, you want to make your very first commission, make your very first sale, and you don't have a list, you don't want to pay ads, you don't have any influence in your network just yet, right? I'm sure that there's so much that you can share with us as well, which hopefully in the future, let's go ahead and plan for another session for you to actually do that with us. Would you be okay with doing that, Mr. Tuan?
Do I have a choice?
You absolutely do have a choice. It's either yes or hell yeah. Okay, those are your 3 choices. All
Look,
right, so
you see the G on the back of my head. Not only that, check this out.
There it is, right?
That's a yes.
Absolutely, yes. Cool, man. So again, if you have any questions, of course, we're all very excited. Thank you, Mr. Tuan, for agreeing to do that. I as well am also very excited to learn more from you. Let's go ahead and take some final questions before we let you go, because we have a lot of people who are in different parts of the world, and either it's getting late or you want to get through the rest of your day. It is 12 noon plus for me. And so for many people who want to enjoy their Sunday afternoon or go have lunch or whatever else, we're going to try and keep this timely for you. We got Rob, who's asking you, Tuan, what kind of out-of-the-box marketing have you tried or want to try?
Ooh, that's a good question. Out-of-the-box marketing. That's interesting, Rob,
Right there.
because Trader.
That's pretty out of the box, right?
That was out of the box marketing. I like trying new haircuts anyway. That was just something that I said. I showed a picture of Simon's G, and then I showed a picture of Angie's G, right? And I went to my barber one day. I said, "Hey, bro, do you think you can cut this? Do you think you can carve this in my head?" And he goes, "I'll give it a try." And I said, "Okay, let's do it." But I mean, that was out of the box marketing there, if you consider that. But I gotta be honest. Like right now, I'm really focused on doing what's working versus just jumping into every single shiny object there is out there. Like I'll be honest with you. Like I tried to tap into paid ads, and I realized that until you make your first sale through organic marketing, paid ads might not do it for you. So get good at organic marketing, get good at connecting, get good at building relationships. That's something that's going to take you very far in life anyway. So I would master that first. But I can't really answer out of the box marketing, because right now I'm so focused on just organic marketing and just really sticking with what works there. So I hope that answers your question, Trader Rob.
Yeah, absolutely. So did you have something else to add?
No, that's it. That's it. I was
Okay.
wondering what was that last question there on? Somebody was asking about the offer.
Is it this one, Jolene?
Yeah. When will you announce it? Oh, are you asking about the offer?
Yeah, probably asking more about what you will be sharing. Yeah, either the product, or you're talking about a product that you don't want to talk too much about just yet, right? So so I think Jolene is asking, when are you going to announce it? When are we going to get to know more about it?
that's going to be to be announced. Let's just say I'll give you a little teaser, right? So authentic branding conversion formula. Okay. It's going to be centered around that authenticity, branding, and conversions. Why? Because people want conversions, and it comes through authenticity and learning how to properly brand yourself on social media. And I'm really talking about Facebook, because why? Confidence is the difference maker. Confidence, my friends, is the difference maker when you enter into the online space. And then not only that, authenticity has a certain smell to it. It does. You guys know what authenticity looks like. And so those are the key areas that I really want to focus on in really helping people build or start a profitable online business is how do I position myself in the online marketing place through branding, through communication, through really telling my story and the authenticity. And not only that, how do I generate leads and then close them and convert them into sales? So it's going to be centered around that. That's all I'm going to share with you guys for now.
Yeah, that is a great teaser because I do know a little bit about it from what you shared with me privately, and I would say just from what I've seen so far, it's gonna be off the cuff, man. It's gonna be so cool. It's gonna be so awesome. It's definitely something that I know I could use as well, and that's why, if for those of you who want to know a little bit more about what I do as well, I also work with event organizers in this part of the world. And so there are huge opportunities, for those that I also identify as being great at influencing people, having great value to share, and really just have really tremendous branding and products and offers to share. I offer the stage. I mentioned how I wanted to expand not just through Malaysia, but also into other countries beyond what we've just done. In fact, in addition to Indonesia and Taiwan and Thailand and Vietnam and Singapore, which we've done in the past few years, initially this year Philippines and India were next until all of these things happened. Okay, but just to let you know, just because we can't travel, just because we can't do all these things offline, it doesn't mean that we can't do them online. It doesn't mean that we can't continue on with the sharing of value. In fact, with everything that has happened this year, I almost see it on a professional level, almost like a blessing in disguise, because it forced us, for those of us who actually know what we're talking about, who have the value to share, this gave us a global platform to be able to reach people whom we previously couldn't reach. If I couldn't make my way to India, or if I had gone there, I obviously am only limited to just, a couple of cities, but now anybody in India or anywhere around the world for that matter, they can take advantage of everything that we have to offer as long as we do the marketing right and everything along those lines. And so for Mr. Tuan, I had the conversation with him. I said, hey man, your product seems absolutely cool. It's amazing. I think people around here would also benefit from it. Would you be interested in expanding into Southeast Asia, maybe even beyond that? And he said, yes, absolutely. So all these cool things that I believe is exciting, that is all coming up. It is absolutely going to make a huge difference. And so, yes, confidence is a big thing. Make sure that whatever it is that you can learn how to be more confident in your communication. If you can adapt to different things, the year of 2020 has been a year of adaptation, hasn't it? We need to adapt and make changes in our own lives. So if you're going to be presenting, you want to be influential, you want to have confidence, you need to know how you're going to change the different ways of your communication. When you're just talking, just to be talking like this, or if you want to be a little bit more philosophical, a little bit more mindful, right? All these different things you need to put. You want to be, sentimental, and start talking about stories that maybe will make you cry. You need to start doing things like that. You want to be funny, right? Then you got to go, ha, ha, ha. You got to learn how to laugh at yourself. Or if you want to be motivational and you want to be inspirational and you want to make sure that whatever it is that comes out of your mouth is going to take what is going to be you in your future, make other people take action. do what they need to do to make this the best year of their life. Next year and on, even better, then you need to know how you can adjust towards that as well. Okay, so it's all about your confidence, it's about your communication and how it is that you are going to make changes, impact, motivate, inspire others to take action. And that is what confidence is all about. So with that, we have so many more people who are just saying thanks, awesome. Don't just thank me, right? Thank you, of course, to Mr. Tuan for being here. And we have so many, no kidding, adapt or die, says George Williams. And then Trader Rob is saying, for someone who went from zero to hero in such a short period of time, what areas did you find most intimidating and what did you do to overcome it? I think this is the last question that we will take for you, Mr. Tuan. What is that?
That's a very good question, Trader Rob. What comes to mind is if you're at the head of the class, you're in the wrong class. And so it was really a mindset and also a price tag issue that I had to overcome. And so I want you to type this in the chat. Is without an end in mind, you're going to build relationships for no reason. Okay. I want to motivate you guys to build relationships, but I want you to think about having the end in mind. Why am I building relationships? So that's the first key right there, is understanding how do I go from zero to hero. Number one, I have to identify that, look, this is where I'm at, and average is not good enough. And until I first identify where I'm at, how do I know where I'm going to go? So that's the first thing, is where do you want to go, or what do you want to grow in 2021? And if you don't have clarity or you don't have vision for 2021, then you're not going to have a game plan. You're not going to reach out to people, because if you don't know what you want, you're more than likely not going to get it. I knew that if I start off as a zero, how do I become a hero? I have to continue investing in myself and making myself more valuable in the online space. Like I said in the beginning, it's about who do I know? And then I start focusing on connecting and communicating with them. And then whatever skill set that I can acquire and get good at, focus on that. Like I realized you can be a master, you can be a jack of all trades, or you can try to master that one thing and become valuable in that area. And so that's one thing I would share with you, Trader Rob, is knowing where you're going or knowing where you're growing from zero to hero. You have to first identify, this is where I'm at. Average is not good enough for me no more. And that was that one decision that I made. I'm not content with just living an average and mediocre life. A mediocre person is always at their best. Why? Because they're content in their place of rest. And so that's the first thing is, but one thing that was really intimidating was being in proximity of people that were way ahead of me. But that's where stretching involves a lot of growth. I mean, if you think about it, some of the most intimidating moments in my life was reaching out to people that were like, I mean, $1 million earners. You know, what do they have to do with me? And I realized that the more and more consistent I got with just reaching out, people started seeing that, hey, look, there's something about this guy. He's persistent. He wants to go to the next level. And I asked that question, who do you know that I need to know? And that by far has opened up so many opportunities for me because of that one thing right there. And that's what I'll share with you there. You don't know what you're worth until you actually go through those pain points. And when you don't know your worth, you're not able to add tax when and where it counts. So how will you know what you're worth until you actually go through that pain? You know, when you feel undervalued in your maybe first year of online, that's when you start feeling that pain. And then you're like, oh, you know what? I'm worth way more than this. But how does the world recognize that? So I hope that kind of gave you some insight of like some of the pain that I went through early on, was not knowing what I was worth. And I always undervalued myself. And it took one person, Simon, for one person to call me out one day. And they said, Tuan, you're worth so much more, bro. I don't know if you can see yourself right now. Maybe it's because you're the one in the picture frame, but I'm calling you out right now. You're worth so much more. I need you to rise up. And that one person's belief in me, that borrowed belief, changed my whole life in 2020 because I took that borrowed belief and it became my own. And so wherever you guys are at right now, as I just wrap this up, I know we kind of went over, is look, I want you to borrow my belief in you. Same with Simon. I want you to borrow my belief and make it your own. Because if I can do it 2 years coming out of prison and become where I'm at today, imagine what you can do too if you can just learn from others. And that's just my inspiration for you guys today as we wrap things up. Back to you, Simon.
No, I mean, there's no time limit, just so that you know, but just so that just so that you don't feel like we're going over time or anything like that. But yes, I do understand. Yeah, 90 minutes. But there is one last thing that I do also kind of want to share as well, along of what you were talking about. Yeah, it's important of the people that know you, but also there is that intimidation factor of the people who are more successful than you. And I felt like I've been feeling this for a very long time, especially in the beginning, right? In the beginning, when I first met Mike, when I first met Donna, when I first met Tom Beal and Rich Sheffrin, all those people back, wow, 14, 15 years ago, it was very intimidating, right? Because I was like, wow, these are the $1 million earners. But then we became friends. And I also got to know a lot of other people. I'm talking about big names like Armin Morin and Alex Mendosian. And those were always the people that I had looked up to. All the people that were always just the inaccessible people that I was talking about earlier. I finally got to meet them. And for somebody like Alex Mendosian, he was kind enough to actually take me under his wing for a short amount of time, teaching me different things that he knew and vice versa, because he wanted to learn what I knew about Google. And so we did like a friendly little bar at that point in time. But of course, being the already successful person that he at that time already was, it was always intimidating to him. With them in Singapore, and we Napa Valley together. I went to his house, so we actually are pretty good friends. Pretty good friends, pretty close, so to speak. We went to karaoke, we partied, we did a lot of really cool stuff. We had meals. So technically, we're supposed to be good friends, but for whatever reason, maybe it's him, maybe it's his personality. There's always this intimidating aura that came from him, and so that was basically what I got as I was continuing to learn from him all those years ago. And then, of course, fast forward to 10 years plus later, and I'm doing my thing. And I think that the table has kind of switched in many cases. People are intimidated by me. And somehow that increased my, I don't want to call it ego, but at least my confidence level. That's what you were talking about earlier. And so, I've been doing this ever since 1997. And I've been making money online for 23 years. I've been a full-time internet entrepreneur and speaker since 2006. So for a long time, to people looking up to me, calling me the mentor, wanting to pay to see me, take pictures, blah, blah, whatever else. I became like the Alex Mendosian of, 15 years ago to me, right? And so here's something that was really interesting and really funny. For whatever reason, randomly, I believe it was either yesterday or the day before, somehow after losing touch with Alex Mendosian for at least a good 10 years, I think the last time I did see him was in Singapore, and that was probably 10 years ago. And I saw him do a live stream, and he was like talking, he was saying something, and he had a translator with him. I think it was from Brazil, so it was in Portuguese, and he was saying something in English, and the translator said something in Portuguese. And I said something like, I commented, and I was like, hey, hey, Alex, good to see you. It's been a long time. I've been doing a lot of seminars around the world where I do those live translations, for example, in Vietnam, right? And in Thailand, Indonesia, I say something in English. The translator live right next to me actually translates it back into whatever the language might be. And so I've seen a lot of people, I've done a lot where live translation actually happens in person at seminars. This is the first time I've actually seen it during an actual live stream. You're always the innovator. Thank you for sharing, right? And then out of the blue, during the actual live stream himself, just a few seconds later, you see him, reading the message, and he's like talking to whoever is on his team. He's like, can we get somebody onto here? Can we get somebody onto this live stream? I was like, oh crap, I hope he's not talking about me, right? And he's like, yeah, Simon Leung, can you get him on, right? And suddenly I felt like how I felt 15 years ago. When I first met Alex Mendoza for the first time, I was into him, and suddenly that whole feeling of intimidation came back. And I think it was almost like a blessing in disguise because his team couldn't figure out in time how to get me onto the live stream at the same time. But I was like, I'm not ready. I can't get on with Alex Mendoza. This is Alex Mendoza. I can't be, I mean, I've shared the stage with him before, but suddenly I felt like a little kid. I felt like a newbie again. I'm really intimidated by just the overall appearance, right? So just the thoughts of being on a live stream with him, and suddenly like it is so. The moral of the story, the intimidation factor never goes away. And for you, you can grow in terms of your confidence. You can grow in terms of some people have their ego. They're like, these people, they can't tell me what to do, blah, blah, blah. But in the end, once you finally figured out that sweet spot to humble yourself back down, to say and realize there are people who are smarter than me. There are people who have been successful, more successful, and have been there, done that longer than I have. That's when you allow yourself and give yourself permission to continue to grow again. Because once you let your ego get in the way and you say, I already know everything there is to know, there is nobody better than me, you should all be intimidated by me and not the other way around. And now you humble yourself and say, there are these other people that can also be a bigger part of my life to bring value to me, maybe vice versa, and other ways around. That's when you know there will be much more room for you to grow as a person in 2021, not grow, right? As what Tuan said. And this is just your very first step in realizing that you can open up yourself up to become even bigger and better versions of yourself. Okay, so with all of that, I want to thank you, Mr. Tuan, for sharing with us here today. I know your time is super, super valuable. I know that for all of us, we have so many things that we want to continue to share, but of course, time is always the factor in the way. So for all of us who are here, is there anything else, Mr. Tuan, that you would like to share or close us down with? Final words, final tips, final advice, words of wisdom until the next time that we're able to meet you here live on Groove Anytime?
Yeah, I'll say this. Growth is always painful, right? So there has to be tension in your life. If there's no tension in your life, you're more than likely just going through life. And so experience is not always the best teacher. It's when you evaluate your experience, that's when true growth comes from. I want to leave you with this, okay? Changes will come through challenges, and challenges come with the change. If I'm not willing to make a change today to become better tomorrow, then why do I need tomorrow? And I want you to think about that leading into 2021. Am I willing to do what it takes? Pay the price, give up to go up. I'm giving you permission today to say yes to yourself. And not only that, do you realize how many people are waiting on the other side of your yes right now? People are counting on you. And me and Simon, we're counting on you too, to rise up, to grow in 2021. Let's do it together, my Groovesters.
Let's do it. Absolutely. So for all of us who are here right now, I think there's obviously an infinite amount of questions that we can be asking Tuan, including things like organic marketing, including things like affiliate marketing and how to get those organic sales. And that is the exact reason why we are going to have Tuan come back another time onto Groove at any time, because I believe this is one person that we will never, ever be able to stop learning from. So on behalf of everybody who is watching right now, thank you, Mr. Tuan, for your time here with us. Thank you for spending your Saturday nights with us right here. You can be going out, you can be having fun, you can be doing whatever else, but you are here spending your time with us, sharing value, dropping knowledge bombs. And I'm sure everybody, including all the top leaders that be, all the powers that be, absolutely appreciate your continued contribution to the Groove community. So for everyone else here, Thank you very much for your time as well. We are always on at different times of the day, at different days to talk about anything. If you want to hear more from Tuan, let us know in the comments. Give him some additional love. Let's all thank him. Say thank you, Tuan. Hashtag thanks and all those great things, because I believe, in addition to, all my earphone falling off and everything, there's always things that go off the cuff. You never know what's going to happen. And the beauty of working and chatting with Tuan is that he is just such an open book. Anything can happen, and we literally can be talking about anything. So with all of that, have yourself a great rest of your weekend wherever you might be. I will catch you on the next groove at any time. Make sure that you stay focused, stay positive, increase your confidence, learn what you need to. Watch this again if you need to, and if it's necessary, to learn how to become a much better influencer. Get inspired and motivated by Mr. Tuan all over again. And Mr. Tuan and myself, we will catch you on the next one. Cheers, folks. Have a great day. Have a great weekend. Have the great rest of the year. It's going to be absolutely amazing. Cheers. You gotta get into the groove. To the groove.